Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Synsei Inc. back again with yet another chapter review, this time for One Piece chapter 1024. And oh my god, Oda once again is in his Duffy another week. For y'all that don't know, in your Duffy means that he's in his bag. He is spazzing. Of course, though, before we go any further, if you have not read the chapter yet, check in the pinned comment or the description. My Discord link is there. Hit the Discord link, join it. Go to the announcement tab in the Discord server. The link for the chapter will be there. Of course, if you like the content, leave a like. And if you want more like this, make sure you subscribe and you turn on those post notifications because it's free. And are y'all broke? I'll wait. Exactly. So subscribe. But yo, we got to talk about this crazy color spread, bro. The color spread is insane, bro. We got everybody here, and this is like people for like the popularity polls, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Beautiful though, of course. Got Luffy in the front, you know, the guy, the goat. But we're not here for that. We're here for the chapter. So the chapter is called A Certain Someone, right? Now, the beginning of this chapter was mad funny, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, when I was reading it, I thought for a second that, yo, is my guy Usopp using Conqueror's Haki? Like, I really was confused. And I know a lot of you guys might, but basically I'll try to explain it. So basically Usopp comes out riding a crocodile and he looks as if he is knocking out Kaido's subordinates. Kaido's subordinates are like all around and they're foaming at the mouth, falling. I know that y'all might think that that was Usopp, but for those of you that don't understand, I'll try to explain. So Big Mom is fighting on a different floor, and her Conqueror's Haki has spread so much that she's knocking out the subordinates, and it just so happens that Usopp came in. So this mystery like shape, you know, when he comes in and makes his entrance and it looks like, yo, was Usopp using Conqueror's Haki? Just in case y'all didn't understand, it was Big Mom knocking people out in the other floor, and they just happened to fall out with the foam and mouse around them. Cause I was actually a little bit confused by that, I'm gonna be honest. Shout out to the homie Speed though for actually explaining what was going on. Like Speed explains, you know, about the whole Big Mom thing. So the next part of this chapter, I really appreciated Oda giving us, because it was basically just him updating us on everything that's going on with the Straw Hats after their fights. So Nami reaches out to Frankie with the Den Mushi, and Frankie explains to Nami that he doesn't really understand what's going on either, but he does know that Kaido's subordinates are like trying to push forward. So we see Frankie at this point fighting alongside Law. So we know Nami, Usopp, Tama, they're okay. Frankie, he's fighting with Law, so he's fine too. Then we go to the third floor, and this is where we see where the Black Maria and Robin fight happened. And there is like fire and stuff like that, which had me worried a little bit. I wasn't really sure, you know, if Robin was going to be okay after her fight with Black Maria either, because she did fall unconscious. But we see Brook running across the bridge, and he has Robin in his arms. There's a car in the background, bro. Carcoon strikes again, bro. It's always, every time I record, you know, it's just the car in the background, you know, it's just like, bro, I'm not a NASCAR track. Like, why are you going 90? I don't understand. But anyways, back to the chapter, y'all. Sorry about that. So like I said, we see Brook running with Robin. So we know Robin's okay. However, Robin is still unconscious. You know, the fight with Black Maria was tough, especially after the information we got in the River cards. We actually see that Black Maria has the second highest bounty amongst the Tobiropo, right under Who's Who. So this was specifically a very tough fight for Robin. At this point, Brook reaches out to Jinbei. We finally get to see Jinbei. He's cool, which we already knew. You know, he did Who's Who dirty. He's fine. Jinbei explains that he's confused a little bit though, because he doesn't understand why Kaido isn't back to the castle. Like, what is stopping him from getting to the castle? And that's when we also see Kawamatsu and some of the Yakuza leaders fighting, you know, these Kaido subordinates from escaping the flames. You feel me? So basically everybody is okay. All the Straw Hats are cool. The subordinates are trying to push, but Law and Frankie are fighting back. The Yakuza leaders and Kawamatsu are fighting back. So Oda is giving us a lot of introspection on like what is going on in Onigashima at this time, specifically with the Straw Hats. What are the updates on them? And I appreciate Oda for giving us this context, because that's something a lot of times we take for granted and we don't really know. And we always ask ourselves, where's this character, or where's this character? And Oda's trying to keep us updated, I feel like, as best as he can within the confines of the, you know, 19 to 20 pages he has. So I appreciate Oda for doing that. Now at this point, we go back to Kaido and Yamato, and this is where we get into the very interesting stuff in the chapter. So many things happen in the second half of the chapter, and we basically get like a Yamato flashback, which I was super excited for. I was hoping it would connect to Kaido's. I'm not 100% sure if that'll happen. However, we got a lot on Yamato. They start fighting and Yamato says, "You always want to kill me." And Kaido says, "Yes, it's true. This is not just a family quarrel. If you want to call yourself Odin, then you must be ready to go to war against me." And Yamato says, "What's wrong with admiring someone?" This is when the flashback starts up. So if y'all remember the statue that like Ace had broke, the Tori statue, this is where the flashback starts. Now, from the perspective of what's happening in the flashback, this is a little bit after Odin's death, which was about 20 years ago. So it's not too long after it. So we see Kaido and he still has the bandages on from that tough fight that he had with Odin. And we can see the wound that Odin left on his chest as well. So at this point, something really cool happens. So Yamato was tied up to like this post. It reminded me of like back in, I believe it was Romance Dawn arc, if I'm not mistaken, where we see Zoro tied up, and it kind of gave me flashbacks of that. But Yamato is tied up, and it's funny that I mentioned Zoro because this stuff that happens later could have connected to him, which is interesting as well. However, we see like Kaido subordinates falling down all around Yamato because Yamato is using the color of Supreme King's Conqueror's Haki. Kaido, of course, sees this and says, "Yo, you have that potential, but if you keep fighting and want to be Odin so bad, I'm gonna have to eliminate you. I have to get rid of you." And of course, this is how Kaido feels. At the end of the day, he does put his own self first. So he's talking to Yamato as if she's an enemy. Now, after this, some more interesting stuff happens because he takes Yamato to a cave that has some kanji, and we see other silhouetted people in this cave. Now, if you remember, Uchimaru Shimotsuki was the last leader of the Ringo of Daimyo, right? He was a part of the last Daimyo that Kaido said could join him, but then ended up rebelling against him and dying. So we have that context already. This is kind of the pre-context to how that happened though. So these silhouetted people, in my opinion, are those people that we have seen that information on. But Kaido goes in and tells them after he takes Yamato, "Look, if you guys want to join me, that's fine, but if you don't surrender, I'm gonna have to kill you all." So Kaido, being the mad timer he is, he leaves a bunch of swords on the ground and also leaves food on the ground. So basically in his mind, he's like thinking, okay, if these people want this food, they're gonna have to fight for it. And he's like, I guess trying to see who is willing to kill whom. Yamato, of course, being, a young child, is begging Kaido, "Please stop this. Take me out of here. Stop this." And Kaido, being the tough parent he is, says, "Wait, didn't you say you're Odin?" So after this, Kaido leaves the cave and Yamato's left in here and starts contemplating like, man, I feel like I'm Odin, but I am also the child of Kaido. And I feel like these people in here being enemies of Kaido, they're going to want to hurt me. Now, at this point, something really cool happens. One of the silhouetted figures kind of go towards Yamato, and Yamato was thinking, yo, I might be dead here, which I thought was very interesting because Yamato's having actual character moments. This is something I've really been waiting on from Yamato, and we get to see it in this flashback. She's having these contemplative moments like, look, I'm Odin, right? And I want to fight for these people. I want to protect his legacy. I admire him. But on the same token, I'm also the child of Kaido. So these people that I really want to take care of and help, they might see me as an enemy. And it's kind of ironic, in a way, because it's like these same people that I'm trying to protect and I want to help are going to be my undoing, are going to be the people that kill me. But she was wrong. They actually help her. They feed her and they say things to her very kindly, that samurais don't starve, and they give her a lot of moral support. So she eats the rice bowl. She's so grateful about this, which, of course, anybody would be when you're starving. And she sees a guy that resembles Zoro. And at this point, I'm like, okay, that must be Uchimaru. But he says, I'm no one. You can call me Nanagashi. Time goes on and, they're in this cave together. Yamato and them are reading Odin's journal. So they actually taught Yamato how to read. Yamato says, look, I can't read this journal. Can y'all help me? They actually teach Yamato how to read over the next few days. So as they read this journal and they find out the predicted battle that's 20 years in the future, these people say, look, man, 20 years is too much for us. We're already in old age. We're getting to that point that 20 years, we're not going to last. But they know that she's young and has potential to help to fight for Wano Kuni. So they say, look, we're going to help you. So they end up breaking the rock in front of the cave and they go out to fight Kaido, which, inevitably leads back to the present. But that's also the moment symbolically that led to the present. Without them doing that, Yamato never would have gotten this far. So Yamato's having this awesome moment. It says, tell me, why have you taken away my freedom? Why have you taken away this country's freedom. And Kaido says, you greenhorn. You know, basically saying you're young-minded. This world cannot be explained with simple questions and answers. So at this point, the craziest thing in the chapter happens. Yamato and Kaido attack each other at the same time, and they end up using the Thunder Bagua, and they're both using what looks like to be Conqueror's coding. And for a split second, it looks like Yamato actually has tied with her father in this moment. This chapter was insane. We have so much in this chapter. We got Oda giving us context on the Straw Hats, updating us on them. We have a Yamato flashback, learning about Uchimaru a little bit more, learning how Yamato came to be here in this position. We have Kaido and Yamato having awesome character moments, ending with a clash of Conqueror's coding. This chapter was amazing. And on top of that, the best part of the chapter is that there's no break. There is no break. We're getting 1025 next week. This chapter was some gas. Of course, guys, you know, we've recapped the chapter. I've told you my thoughts on things in kind of depth and tried to explain certain parts, but I want to talk a little bit more about how I actually feel about the chapter as a whole. I think that this chapter was very well put together. It kind of tied some loose ends up. We were wondering about the Straw Hats, where they were, how are they doing, and we got those answers from Oda. We're also always wondering, when is Yamato getting some characterization? When is Yamato getting a flashback? If she is going to get one, how did Yamato get to this point? And just like that, just like magic, at a snap of a finger, Oda answers those questions as well, explaining Yamato's introspection on herself, explaining how Yamato learned to read, how these samurais embedded these things into Yamato that made her who she is. We learned even more about Uchimaru and how he probably had died in that battle. Oda really spazzed on this chapter. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I think this chapter was amazing. Of course, though, I want to know all of your opinions, so make sure you comment down below. Let me know what you think of the chapter. Also, make sure that you hit that Discord link for the chapter link and follow me on Twitch as well. And as always, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy during these trying times. This has been Synsei Inc., and I will see you all in the next video.